Let's head on to the garden and check out what we have as far as updates for everything we've planted, from cold crops, potatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and then also our onions are doing great. Our garlic that we planted in October of last year, and then we've also added our fruit trees and then our berry row. So we're going to go through an update of what the current status of the garden is. Here's our apple trees. This is the start of our apple tree row, and we have 6 trees down here. And I am 5'7", so you can see how tall they are. If you remember from previous videos, we got older trees so that we can kind of get a head start on things. It takes usually 3 to 4 years for the trees to start fruiting. So like I said, we get a little jump start on it, and most of the trees are anywhere from a touch under 6 feet to a little over 6 feet. So once you go from the apple trees, we actually head down here. This is our berry row, and there's all different types of berries throughout here. It is ranging from blueberries to blackberries to red raspberries. We also have pink blueberries, golden raspberries, and we also have 2 Concord grapevines in here. And then we also have a berry patch in the back that we're probably going to leave there, but this was a addition that we did this year, so it will be a permanent spot. We're not sure if these 2 earth beds are something that we added this year along with the berry row, and this nearly 2/3 of this row is different types of cauliflower. It is 100% cold crop, and we have cauliflower all the way down until about halfway. And we have a purple cauliflower, we have 3 different kinds of orange cauliflower, and then we have your white cauliflower. In the fall, we will do orange, white, purple, and then we'll also add a green cauliflower. But this we're trying out here in our earth bed. And underneath here is a compost, topsoil, all organic mix. And then we put what this black stuff is called. It's called Bio 360, and it's a biodegradable mulch to help with weeds. Weeds can very easily take over an earth bed, so that we're trying to do this to help us along the way, since it is just the 2 of us and we have a very large garden to deal with. So we have cabbage in this, or excuse me, cauliflower, until this stake right here, and then from here on it's all cabbage, and that is head cabbage. And that is the type that we picked. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but we picked a good type for sauerkraut because we plan to make lots of sauerkraut with our cabbage. This last little bit of section is 4 kohlrabi plants. It's a purple kohlrabi. Neither Scoop or I have ever had kohlrabi, so this is going to be a experiment year for kohlrabi for us. But we're excited, and maybe, like, we'll roast it, saute it, figure out a few different ways to eat it, and just kind of go from there. This section of our garden is the earth bed section. So we'll start here at this first box. And this last year was tomatillos all along there, and then we planted asparagus and ground cherries throughout here. As most people know, but you may not know, asparagus takes 2 to 3 years to grow. So we know that eventually this bed is going to get taken over by asparagus. But you can see right now that this is all coming back from last year, and we have little sprouts of asparagus throughout, and it's pretty neat to watch. Everything kind of grows. It grows up like it's going to be an asparagus, and then it turns into kind of like a little tree. Then the seeds will fall and plant more asparagus, and if not next year, definitely the next year, that entire bed will be 100% dedicated to asparagus. So let's move over here to our garlic bed. And again, we planted this garlic in October of 2022. So you can see how nice it's looking. It really liked the last bit of cold and then the rain that we just got throughout the last few weeks. And we have seeded in between our garlic. You can see that we have little turnips. And I accidentally plucked one of these the other day because I thought it was a weed. But it turns out it was a turnip. And we have two different types of turnips in here. We have a purple turnip and then a white Asian turnip. So mostly used in Japanese cooking. So we're really excited about that. We have not grown turnips yet before. We have done garlic in the past. Everything is looking good. Nothing is looking like it's gonna bolt, where it gets the flowers on the top, very similar to onions. So right now, this bed's looking really good with garlic and turnips. And then we also have, if you see in between the little plants right through here, we have added some celery plants, just intermingling them throughout the beds to see what they grow best with. And then also we had some extra carrots, so we put in some carrots right through here. So let's go to the next bed and see how empty it looks. Next to the asparagus bed, we have more head cabbages. We did a little experiment to see what grows better, box cabbage or earthbed cabbage. Right now, unfortunately, box cabbage is taking over, and why that's unfortunate is because there's not a whole lot of growing space in the boxes. They're 4 feet wide by 12 feet long, but yet those earth beds are 4 feet wide by 90 feet long. So I would love for them to do so much better than the box, so I don't have to build more boxes. But you'll see that these cabbages are, some of them are as big as around, the actual plant itself are as big around as a basketball. And that is by far winning over the earth bed. But that's the outside row. These next two rows are fingerling potatoes, and I'm actually growing these for a family member. And we planted them, we got, well, probably about 30 seeds. Potato seeds, and we also put some over in the buckets because we had so many. So there will be lots and lots of fingerling potatoes to go around this year from this year's garden. And now that they've sprouted and the plant is above the ground, we will probably come in. This weekend is Mother's Day. Next weekend we will probably come in next week and add about probably 6 to 12 inches of dirt and completely cover this green part, which is okay because you want to make a mound and then more potatoes will grow. So this will get mounded up and we'll use our topsoil compost mix. We always get a huge delivery back there under the blue tarp and then use that throughout the season periodically. So we always get it dumped early in the season and then spread it out on whatever we may need to grow or whatever may need to be refilled from the spring planting to the fall planting. So this is our lower box number 2, and it is head cabbage and fingerling potatoes. moving on in the garden tour. This low box right here behind me is Brussels sprouts, and around it we have different types of flowers that help deter certain insects and bring good ones in and kick the bad ones out. So this is Brussels sprouts throughout here. This is all Brussels sprouts. And then this right here is bok choy. We have never grown bok choy before, but it looks absolutely beautiful. And again, all of this stuff that we have in our garden, we've planted from seed or set or transplant. So it's really neat to see things that we've never done before come into the garden. We always try to do at least one different thing every year. This year we kind of have several because we have so much more space. But already, just in so far, we've got kohlrabi and now bok choy and fingerling potatoes and celery and turnips. See? We've added way more than just one thing. So this is low box 3, dedicated to Brussels sprouts, flowers around the outside, and then the flowers actually, and things for tea because those are chamomile around there, and then bok choy. So now we'll head to the raised box. Things in the raised boxes are for things that you just don't want to bend over and pick. So we're trying to save our backs and not have to bend over and pick everything. So in this box behind me, we have actually onions that came up from last year. So we've just let them go and see what they're gonna do. They're not bulbing right now, so we're just gonna use them as a green onion. But then also this is not a weed, it is arugula. And so you can just tear off, taste just like, I think better, arugula that you would get in a salad mix or just an arugula mix that you get in the store. Has a nice like peppery taste. So this is all ready to be picked. Come out, pick a salad, it's good to go. This is more miscellaneous carrots. We had a bunch of carrot seeds spill, so we just said, hey, let's grow them and be surprised whenever they pop up. So this is all carrots, and then over here we have more celery. When it comes time to plant beans, we will actually put our Blue Lake bush beans right through here. They go well with carrots and celery. So this is going to be 2 rows, maybe 3 in a zigzag pattern of Blue Lake bush beans. And we like those because we can pick them when they're a little more slender and less stringy and have like more of a sauteed green bean rather than like a canning green bean that you would get at the store. This box is our onion box. We have red onions, red candy onions, yellow candy onions, and then a Texas white onion. And then we have a row of orange beets. They're called boulder beets, and they are an orange. They're like a pinkish red flesh with, once you slice it open, it's bright, beautiful orange. Like when you think of the most beautiful orange sunset, that's the color of the inside of these beets. So this is my favorite box because onions are probably my most favorite vegetable to grow. I appreciate the drying process, the storing process, and I just love giving out onions. It's something that my grandfather used to do on my dad's side, and it's kind of neat to continue doing something that he used to do as well. And when I go around to my family members and they're like, oh, Papaw had the best onions. These onions taste like Papaw's onions. That's pretty cool for me to hear that I'm doing something that he loved to do as well. So this is our onion box, and as you can see, there are hundreds of onions in here, and we also have overflow of onions over here in our other potato box, and there's also peas in this box. So these were the smaller batch of onions. If you remember from the onion video, I separate the large onions from the small onions, and back here was where we put the small onions, and then over here is where we put the large onions. And you can see that those are a touch larger than some of these over here. So these may turn into green onions, they may turn into bulbed onions, but whatever, if they don't bulb, we'll use them as green and just go from there. My favorite vegetable to eat are peas. So this is our pea bed. We will have corn once we plant the corn. Usually after Mother's Day is the A-OK for growing corn in our area, which is zone 6. So we will plant rows of corn. So 1, 2, 3 rows of corn throughout here. And the peas actually put nitrogen into the ground and then also help as a weed deterrent for in between your rows of corn. So this is our pea bed. We planted these about the second week of March. So you can see they're little beans over here. I haven't found any pods yet, but they look good. They look promising. We are not trellising our peas this year. We have in the past, but we are just going to let them do their thing and trellis themselves. We also have a row of peas. Peas go well with potatoes. This is our potato bed, and we have peas right down the middle, and we have a few rogue peas that probably moved with rain that are next to our potato plants. But this is, if you remember from the potato video, this is our Norland Red and our Caribou Russet. So the dark Norland Reds are on this side, and the russets are over there. And just like with the fingerlings, probably in the next week or so, we're going to come through and add 6 to 12 inches of mulch, completely cover the green that is poking out above, and then that'll just die off. It'll just mulch right into the ground, and then it'll keep growing more green right up out of the ground. And every place that you have dirt is a chance for more potatoes to get grown in. So that's why we're going to hill them up, is what it's referred to. And hopefully we get a nice potato harvest. But now you can also see where we have the little onions put in between the potato plants because we had excess. So these will probably be used as green onions. If they bulb, great, fantastic. If they don't, we'll just use them as salad onions and green onions. Radishes, parsnips, butter crisp lettuce, dill, mint, and more onions is what fill the next box. We will also have in this blank spot butter crunch lettuce, so that will be coming once the nights warm up a little bit, probably in the next 2 weeks, like Memorial Day weekend around there. So this big row right here is radish, and we have just a red radish, like a salad radish. They take maybe a month to grow, so they're really fast. Once we pull these, we will just throw another row right into the ground. This row right through here is our parsnips, and they take so long to germinate. So they are slow growers. And we eat a lot of parsnips. We sub our parsnips for potatoes. So glad the sun's coming out. So we have parsnips, the mint in here. You can see mint coming through. Smells so good. smells so good. It's like a fresh pack of opened bubble gum is what it smells like. So we planted mint down here in the corner. Mint takes over anywhere you put it. So it will eventually probably take over this entire box. We will either have to dig it out or just let it be. So we planted it over here in this corner, and then as you can see, way over here, we have mint popping up in our lettuce. So this lettuce also, you can just take right off and eat it. It tastes just like salad lettuce. So that's what's cool. That's why we're doing this, so we can just eat all of our own fresh things. We do not put any pesticides or any sprays. We use all organic matter on all of our vegetables. So everything should be good to go and clean. The last raised box that we have here is 100% dedicated to cauliflower. Just like we did the test with the cabbage, we did some in the box, we did some in the earth bed. This is our test for cauliflower. Some in a bed, some in an earth bed box. But obviously this cauliflower is, again, beating the earth bed cauliflower. It's huge. The leaves are nice and thick, feel like leathery, which is good. There's no damage to them yet. We will net these to prevent the white moth taking over, but so far the boxes are being over, which is a bummer. Behind the raised bed, back where we have the extra berry plants. This is our strawberry patch. We do have quite a few blooms coming, which is promising for some more strawberries this year. We started this last year with 4 different plants. We've added 4 more plants, but then the first 4 plants have grown and spread out. These are 2 plants we added and those 2 plants, so this is all from last year's 4 plants. I personally do not like strawberries, so we grow all of these because all of our little kids that we have running around, they love some strawberries. So the kids like to come over and just pick the strawberries, eat them right off the plant. And this box is a 5-foot by 12-foot box, so like the asparagus, like the mint, strawberries are going to take over this box, but until then we had the extra space. And if you remember from the onion video, this is where we put the seeded onions right along the edge. This is the container section of our garden. In these first few pots to here, we have broccoli, 3, and then we have a 2 broccoli plant here. These buckets here are extra fingerling potatoes. We had so many excess. These 2 buckets are slips of sweet potatoes, Beauregard sweet potatoes. They will grow in here. Sweet potatoes are a slow grower, so they'll grow in there for quite a while, but then we'll be able to just, on a tarp, dump the bucket out, and it's kind of like a big Easter egg hunt. You have no idea how many potatoes are actually going to be in there, and it's really fun. It's my favorite way to plant a potato is in the buckets, plus you don't have to dig up the ground, and you know, digging up potatoes in an earth bed is a lot of work. This, dump it out onto a tarp, pick out all the potatoes that you like, throw the seed potato out into the compost, and then clean up the dirt, put it in the compost, put it in a bed, do whatever you want to do with it. But you don't have to get the shovels out, you don't have to worry about stabbing potatoes. It's just like a little Easter egg hunt. The kids really enjoy doing doing these and kind of doing a challenge to see who can get the most potatoes. Then these will be extra. We usually do potatoes in these, but we decided to put them all into the earth bed and save these for, we're going to try pepper plants in a container. We're also going to try tomato plants in a container. Our tomato plants this year are going to go on the other side of the asparagus where the tomatillos were, and we're doing two kinds of tomatoes, an indeterminate and a determinate tomato. The reason that we're doing this is we want to be able to, with a determinate tomato, we want to be able to get all of our harvest at that time and then be done with it. So a determinate means that it will be a set determined height, a set determined yield. So rather than trying to pick tomatoes for a couple weeks and then get enough to do a small batch of sauce, we will get all of our tomatoes in a couple weeks and do all of our sauces and salsas and pastes and powders and sun-dried everything within the first couple weeks. Then we can move on to enjoying the slicing tomatoes, the heirloom tomatoes, and have all of our canning, our salsas, our sauces, everything out of the way and move on to another part of the project, because that can take over all of your time, is tomato canning and sauce making and salsa making and things like that. So those are from a plant. We started from seed. Those are all still inside. The plants, the peppers, zucchinis, squashes, and cucumbers, those are all still inside, hoping to come out around Memorial Day weekend. So we'll give you an update on those later. And I have some seed starting videos for those plants as well. So that's going to wrap our garden tour. It is May 12th, 2023. I'm Ness, and this is the Ann's Homestead. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.